Hey everyone, thanks for coming today. So as mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders of Paima Studios. So we're a modular gaming stack built for on-chain games. So what is this all about? As you might have known, like a lot of this bull market recently is thanks to gaming. There's a lot of companies, especially in Asia, interested in gaming as a way to enter the Web3 space. Now the problem is that a lot of these companies are currently building Web 2.5. What does that mean in practice? It means that the users own the NFT, but they don't actually own the user progress. And this is not really ideal because, like, why do people play games? They play games for a sense of ownership of that progress. They completed quests, they've earned levels, right? And if you cannot have that progress on chain, then you're taking out a lot of the potential monetization of the system. So for Paima Engine, of course, we support Web 2.5, we support gamification, these kinds of older ways of doing things. But our key differentiator is that we also support on-chain games and autonomous worlds as well. So is there actually any interest in autonomous worlds? If you've never heard of this, you might be wondering, like, is this actually a thing people do? Actually, yes. We've seen some on-chain games raise a lot of money. We've seen some game infrastructure also raise a lot of money, so clearly there's a large VC interest. We've seen a dedicated conference like Autonomous World Assembly that's happening this week in Istanbul, as well as large side events for Token 24/9. So clearly there's interest from like the Web3 native folks. There's a lot of games being published on a variety of tools and SDKs and infrastructure, so clearly there's a lot of developer interest. And there's actually a lot of grants being given out. So Paima is the recipient of a fairly large grant, as well as Dojo and Starknet are giving out a lot of grants for gaming as well. So there's a lot of grant interest. So there's a lot of interest from everybody around, like, why isn't this not a solved problem? Especially like, if games are too hard to build natively on Ethereum layer 1, then okay, let's build a rollup for it. Let's build a layer 2 for it. Well, why does that not happen? What's kind of the issues? One of the main issues is, of course, functionality is fractured. You have some layer 2s like Arbitrum that provide fast block times and low costs of development. You have some other people building DA layers. You have some other people building ZK layers. And right now, these functionality are fractured across different layer 2s, and it's hard for a game to take advantage of all that functionality. As well as this also makes user acquisition very difficult because now users are fractured. If you deploy your game to Optimism, you can't easily target the users in Arbitrum, or you can't easily target the users in Starknet, and people have to bridge funds across. So it causes a fracturing of the user experience as well. And there's actually like a lot of different layers that provide different advantages to your game. Like I mentioned earlier, there's DA layers that you want possibly to store the data for your game. There's fast and cheap settlement layer. There's some ZK layer you might want to take advantage of. There's maybe some general compute layer or some AI layer, or even different layer 1s in general, where you might want your NFT to be able to live on there. So how do we solve this at Paima Engine? So the first thing we try to do is we try to make writing these games easy. So what we do is we allow the users to build a state machine using JavaScript and then connect the state machine to the game engine of their choice. Now, once they've written their state machine, they can deploy this as a rollup to the EVM chain of their choice. So great, now they can build a game easily. And our goal is to basically build this kind of modular gaming stack that's kind of like a sharded rollup. So instead of having the state machine be the only part of the system, the state machine is getting information fed in from different layer 1s, layer 2s, different frameworks from across the space. So you might have this state machine that's getting some data from the settlement layer you picked, but it's also pulling in data from all these different layers out there. Now, in a sense, this is building kind of a non-custodial view over different networks. So for a lot of different systems, for example, Arbitrum, for Optimism, first you bridge your funds into layer 2, then you call a DApp, and then you might get your money back afterwards. So it's kind of like a temporary point of putting your funds into an account and then taking it back later. This works fine for DeFi. For games, I feel like it's not ideal because for games, it's a very experimental thing. You want to iterate really fast. You need to get updates out weekly to keep users interested. But if you're making updates every week there's a potential security risk for your users. So what you really want is a non-custodial system. You want that the user's funds never leave their layer 1, so even if you make an update during the game and it causes an issue and something gets hacked, user assets are not at risk. And so Paima provides you this non-custodial view over all the different rollups or layer 2s you're sharding over. And so the way we facilitate monetization in this scheme is through a system we've created called stateful NFTs. That's to say you have an NFT that lives on the layer 1, and on Paima Engine, you're managing your layer 2 state. And all your wins, your losses, your items, your equipment, all get associated to your layer 1 NFT. So it means that your NFT lives on, for example, Ethereum layer 1, evolves over time based off your actions on this virtual layer 2. So some examples of some stuff we've built there. One more complicated and another one that's a bit simpler coming up. So for example, what if you want to build some kind of like gambling application and you want to leverage ZK for your gambling because you want some ZK proof, private state, and who won the game, but you still want to use Ethereum because obviously Ethereum has like the most liquidity. So what you can do as a user is you can deposit your funds into a EVM smart contract, and then you send your inputs for the game to a batcher who submits your funds to the Mina blockchain. Mina being a ZK blockchain that has recursive snark proofs. The Mina state occasionally gets posted to a ZK bridge built by Lambda class, which then gets posted on Ethereum, and then that can be used to withdraw the funds for your game. So this allows you to have kind of gambling use cases where you say, okay, everybody puts in $5, you play a game, and then whenever somebody wins the game, they get a promise that they'll get a payout for winning the game whenever this loop finishes. So it shows you how Paima can allow you to have like basically a virtualized view over both Ethereum and Mina, two different tech stacks, and provide this as a unified view in a single state engine so you can easily write your game in a single system while take advantage of the strengths of different networks. Another example of this is Tarochi, which is this on-chain RPG game we're writing. So for this game, it's actually a full RPG game with battles and monsters and items and quests and achievements, and the game is all on-chain, so there's no centralized server required at all to play this game. For this game specifically, we're using Psi, which is an arbitrum orbit, as a summit layer. When you play this game, you can create NFTs for the monsters, the items you have, and you can choose which chain you want to deploy the NFT on. And we also, through our account abstraction system, allow you to play from wallets from a lot of different ecosystems. So we try and make user acquisition very easy in this sense. Instead of having to, bridge your assets to whatever app-specific gaming chain, you can just keep your wallet, keep your assets in whatever chain you care about. So we already support a lot of the top NFT chains by volume. We're also working on the system where you can have these NFTs on different chains. So for example, if you've already minted an NFT on Polygon because you got a grant from them, but you want to deploy your game to Ethereum to get access to that ecosystem, Paima allows you to basically have like the NFT and the game live on different networks. And this is without a bridge, right? So instead of forcing users to bridge, which they usually don't want to do because there's a lot of safety risks involved, Paima allows you to basically create this like virtualized view over both network states so that you can keep your NFT collection, the chain you deployed to, but still provide your game on top of that. We're also working a lot on trying to make this signing experience easier. One of the problems with on-chain games is you have to frequently sign transactions, which gets really tedious really fast. So we've already integrated third web SDK, which means you can have signless experiences. We're kind of going further than that. We're extending this kind of system by third web to support wallets from different blockchains. So even people who are outside of the EVM space can come in and play your game. And we're working on this kind of like auto sign system with delegation keys that we've come up with. We're not just an infrastructure company, we're also a game development studio as well. So we publish a lot of games. We're in fact one of the top publishers of on-chain games at the moment. And for example, we built an on-chain tower defense a few months ago that actually did pretty well. And for our game, we actually implemented all the functionality I'm talking about today. Like for example, we actually support wallets from a variety of different ecosystems. We had about 1,000 unique players and over 4,000 matches played. We actually had people buy the NFTs using the stateful NFT system I described. And so a lot of the system I'm talking about today, these are not like theoretical ideas. These are things that are live currently and has actually thousands of users and actually a lot of money accruing these protocols, which is why people are so excited about the concept of on-chain games, like I mentioned earlier. And the cool thing about Paima is because it's app-specific, because every game, every app gets its own layer 2, every game's empowered to choose which stack they want to leverage, which functionality they want to leverage for their system, and we facilitate creating an easy virtualized view on top of those stacks for you to work with. So our goal is to build many games with the system. Some of these games are built by us, but all of Paima Engine is on GitHub, and we have documentation available for everybody. So although some of the games are built by us, some of the games are built by other companies and other people as well. The architecture, it basically works off a funnel system to aggregate all these chains together and provide this unified view. So what that means is that whenever a block comes in for one of the chains you're monitoring, it goes through a chain funnel. The chain funnel detects if this transaction is related to your game or not. If it is, it passes it over to the state machine. The state machine then processes the data. So the state machine is what you as a developer write in JavaScript. Once that gets done, you synchronize the results to your database, which is then used to power like clients. So this is the basic flow of writing a game with Paima. So fairly simple. And we at the Paima team try and build all these funnels for you so that no matter which chain, which network you want to take advantage of, we've already got the funnel ready for you to hook it up to this whole system, and you just build your state machine and deploy your game easily and cheaply. We're kind of working on as many of these funnels as possible, not just for different blockchains, but also for different functionalities within those chains. Our goal is essentially to build a primitive catalog. As a game developer, you probably don't know how Ethereum works, let alone how Cairo works, let alone how all these different layer 1s, layer 2 works, and you just don't have the time to go learn all these different systems. So what we're trying to do is build a kind of library of Alexandria, if you will, of primitives that you can just use, and you can specify them in your configuration file, and Paima will set everything up for you. So you'll see, okay, you want this NFT from this chain, and this chain, and this contract from this chain. And so obviously we have some stuff built in, like ERC20, ERC721, and other standards for other chains as well. We're also working a lot with dApps. You can have like NFT marketplace integration or AMM DEX integration just by specifying stuff in your configuration file, and Paima will handle all the deployment and everything for you and provide this virtualized view for your state machine to operate on these. We also have quite a few features we're trying to make deploying these games as layer 3s as easy as possible. So for example, you could deploy something on top of Arbitrum 1 to be like a layer 3 for them, or even deploy on top of Arbitrum Orbit. And so we provide a lot of functionalities to make deploying to these layer 2s also as easy as possible. That's the core idea of Paima Studios. And we've been live for about 1.5 years. We have quite a few games live already. If you saw some if these ecosystem charts and you're like, wait, where's my project? I should be in this as well. We'll be sticking around here afterwards. So definitely come talk to me, and we're happy to work together.